I want to welcome you to this workshop, buying a house workshop, home purchasing workshop. So feel free. This is a presentation. Feel free to ask questions or give your comment. Just feel free. And before I start, let me do the acknowledgement. We respectfully acknowledge that we are in Treaty 1 territory and that this land is the traditional territory of Anishinaabe, Cree, Ojibwe, Dakota, Dene peoples, and the homeland of the Métis Nation. We respect the treaties that were made on these territories. We are thankful for the clean water we use from Shore Lake. Once again, welcome to the presentation, welcome to the workshop. And this is New Journey Housing. We are a resource center for newcomer housing. So we give information about housing. We work from Monday to Friday, 9:30 to 5 p.m. And this is our address, 305 Broadway. We are in the second floor. 200 means second floor. Our telephone number 204-942-2238. And our email, info@newjourneyhousing.com. So please, you can call us or send an email. We will be quick to respond. And because we are private funded, we receive all newcomers to Canada. I mean, permanent residents, naturalized Canadians, international students, temporary foreign workers, refugee claimants, everybody. And we have 3 workshops: rental workshop, home purchasing workshop, and money management. Today, we are going to talk only about home purchasing workshop, buying a house workshop. You can go to our website, www.newjourneyhousing.com. You will find a lot of information about renting, about buying a house, about money management, workshops, taxes, and so on. So go to our website. Yeah, you can also go to our social media, Instagram and Facebook. You will find a lot of information. Also on our website, you will find 3 booklets: renting a home in Manitoba, buying a home in Manitoba, and making your money work, money management. You can download, print, read the way you want. So welcome to the home purchasing workshop part 1. We will have part 1 and part 2. Okay, so we start with part 1. If we finish, we go to part 2. So welcome. You see this roadmap from here all the way up to here, and we will finish 2 hours, within 2 hours. Okay. So before talking about buying a house, let me talk about renting a home. So how do you think? What are the advantages of renting? I can mention less expense. If something's broken, maybe the fridge is broken, the stove is broken, what do? Call the landlord. Landlord, the fridge is broken. Come and fix it. Less expense. or the roof is leaking, call the landlord. You don't repair, less expense. Maintenance free. You don't maintain your apartment or the house. You are just renting. Free maintenance. Relocation easy. If you want to move out, respect the lease, the contract, and you can move out. So these are some of the advantages of renting. What about the disadvantages of renting? Disadvantages of renting a house or an apartment. Number one, you are paying the rent to the landlord. Your money is going to the landlord. You are not building your own equity. No money coming back to you. You are not building your own equity. You are just paying the landlord, to the landlord, to the landlord. Yeah, this is number one. Think about it. Less security. If landlord says, I want to sell the home or the building, now you have to look for another place for your family. Renovation restrictions. You don't renovate the way you want. This is not your house. Okay? And less privacy. You don't choose who is your neighbor. If they make noise or they have cockroaches, mice, they can come from your neighbor, they come to you. See? Or a person, family living above you. If they make a lot of noise, you call the landlord. These are some of the disadvantages of renting. Now, talking about buying a house, owning a home, what are the advantages? Mute yourself, please. What are the advantages of buying a house, of owning a home? Some of them. Number one, you have a place for your family. You have a house for your family. Then, buying a house, it's a great investment. Usually, it's an investment. What does it mean? The value of your property every year was up, was up, was up, up. It's an investment. You buy a house, maybe 200,000. After 5 years or 10 years, the value of your property can be maybe 250,000. But remember, it's usually, it depends on the market, depends on the demands, and it depends also on how do you maintain your house. How do you maintain your house? That is why I'm saying buying a house, it's a great investment, usually, but not always. Not always. If you don't maintain your house, people come to buy your house. Oh, they see this, oh, there are a lot of damages or what. So your house is going to lose the value. But usually it's an investment. And buying a house, advantages, you have more space, the backyard, basement, and so on. You have more space for your family. And it gives you control with your renovation decisions. You can renovate the way you want. Mute yourself. Yourself, please. Okay?
What is it doing?
Then some of the disadvantages of renting, disadvantages of buying a house. One, disadvantages of buying a house. More responsibilities. In wintertime, you have to shovel the snow. In summertime, you have to cut the grass, plant flowers. And harder to move. If you want to move out, you have to sell your house. Sometimes it can take time, depending on the market, the demand. And buying a house, look at this one, higher cost. Higher cost. It means you have to pay the mortgage payment every month. And when you pay the mortgage, you are paying towards the principal and towards the interest. Remember, mortgage payment, principal, interest. And if something is broken, you have to do the repairs, maintenance. You have to pay insurances. We will see which kind of insurance you have to pay. You have to pay the property tax. You have to pay utilities. I mean the heat, electricity, and water. Phone, cable, Wi-Fi, internet, and so on. So buying a house, remember, higher costs. But this is your house. You are building equity in the house. Yeah. Remember, I talked about cutting the grass, removing the snow, shoveling the snow. Romulo, could you please mute yourself? Okay. Thank you. And removing the leaves on the roof and so on. Okay. Which kind of insurance do you need when you buy a house? Many of you have bought houses. But remember, property insurance is a must. You must have a property insurance. This insurance will cover in case of a fire, in the case of flooding, or people can come break your house. The thieves, insurance, property insurance will cover. So this property insurance is a must. You must buy this insurance. There is a second insurance, mortgage life insurance. This one is optional, mortgage life insurance. It's optional, not a must. If you want, for example, in a family, maybe the husband buys this insurance, but the wife not. They buy a house of maybe 200,000. Pay the mortgage, pay the mortgage, pay the mortgage. Maybe after 5 years, the person who has insurance, in our case, we said the husband, dies. And the balance on the mortgage is maybe 140,000. Then the husband dies. The person having mortgage life insurance dies. And the balance to pay back to the bank or credit union is 140,000. What will happen? The mortgage life insurance provider will go to the bank or credit union. They will ask, how much is the balance? 140,000. They pay everything. Insurance will pay everything. Then the beneficiaries will enjoy the house. It is paid. So the mortgage life insurance will go to the bank or credit union, pay the balance. They don't go to the beneficiaries and give them the money to pay the balance. No, they go to the bank or credit union and pay the balance, pay off the balance. If the mortgage life insurance pays off the balance, now the beneficiaries will enjoy their house. But if your mortgage is maybe after 15 years, maybe 10,000, so the mortgage life insurance provider will only pay 10,000. They always pay the balance on the mortgage. If you want, you can add to this insurance, you can add a critical illness, disability, or loss of job. But remember, if you add any condition, what will happen to your premium? It will go up. You add disability, again it goes up. You add loss of job, again it goes up. There is another insurance, term life insurance. This one also is option. It's not a must. Think about it. Maybe we can take an example. In a family, let me take a husband and a wife. Maybe the wife has term life insurance. The husband doesn't have. They buy a house, 200,000. And the term life insurance, the coverage for this particular family, the coverage is maybe 300,000. They buy a house of 200,000. They pay the mortgage. Maybe after 5 years, the balance on the mortgage, 140,000. Then the person who has insurance, in our example, the wife dies. What will happen to the term life insurance provider? The provider will go to the beneficiaries. They will not go to the bank or credit union. No, they will go to the beneficiaries and give them the whole amount of coverage. In our example, we said 300,000. Now, with this money, the beneficiaries may decide either to pay the mortgage or to enjoy the money, to go to US and enjoy the money. I repeat, property insurance is a must. Mortgage life insurance is not a must. But if you have it and something happens, the person insured dies, now the mortgage life insurance provider will go to the bank or credit union, pay off the balance. The term life insurance provider will go to the beneficiaries and give them the whole amount of term life insurance coverage. This is the difference. Okay? And if you want to buy a house, take your time. Discuss in a family what size, what type of home do you want to buy? Is it a bungalow? Is it one level? Is it 2 levels? Yeah? How many bedrooms do you want? Discuss in a family. Yeah? How much outdoor space do you need? Discuss in a family. Do you want a basement? If you want it 4 bedrooms, maybe you want some people to sleep in the basement, or you want to rent the basement. Make sure it meets the codes. Make sure there is a window. A window. If there is no window, nobody should sleep in the basement. There should be a window. In the case of a fire, people should escape through the window. It's for safety. Yeah? Do I want a separate kitchen or dining room? Sometimes, some houses, the kitchen and the living room is open. Sometimes it is separate from the living room. So think about it. It depends on your family. And think about your family. Maybe in the next, maybe 10 years, is your family going to grow? Are you planning to have more children? Or is your family, some of your children will move out, go rent their own space? Think about it. And buy a house. Think about how many bathrooms do you need? Think about the services. Maybe you want to buy a house close to the church, parks, schools for your children. Public transit. Here in Manitoba and Winnipeg, the buses, bus stop. Think about the parking for yourself and for your visitors. What area of the city do you want? Yeah, those who are in Winnipeg, there is downtown Pembina, Saint Vital, Saint Boniface, Kildonan, St. James. Think about the area. And think some people want to buy a condo. Some people want to buy a house. It depends on your family. Now, once you know which kind of house you want to buy, now look for a mortgage. Mortgage. What is a mortgage? A mortgage, this is a long-term loan to buy a house. It's a loan, long-term loan to buy a house. You can get the mortgage from the bank or from the credit union. And remember, the house you buy is considered as collateral. Collateral. What does it mean? It's like a guarantee. If you don't pay the mortgage, the bank or credit union, they have no problem. They have the house. It's a collateral. It's a guarantee. They will take the house if you don't pay the mortgage. Now the mortgage, it's a legal document. And your mortgage will be registered against the title of your property. So the mortgage, you are going to negotiate. Yeah? And remember, it is finished. Look at this one. It's finished when you make your last payment. Yeah? So, these are the things you have to negotiate. Number one, shop around. Look at the lowest interest rate, the best interest rate. And number two, negotiate. The bank or credit union will always tell you how much you have to pay every month. Every month, every month. Suppose they tell you pay 1,000 every month. Now, ask them if you get a better job or you get a second job and you are able, you can pay more. How much can you pay extra? they will allow you to pay extra only from 5% to 20% of the value of your house per year, 1 year. If you buy a house of maybe 200,000, they will allow you to pay extra money up to maximum 20% of the value of your house. If it is 200,000, 20%, 40,000 per year, not per month, per year. You can add maximum 40,000 per year. And by doing that, you save a lot of money on interest. On interest. If you want to pay more than 20% of the value of your house per year, if you want to pay more, they give you a penalty. You are destroying their business. Remember, they are doing business. Then we talked about a mortgage. And I want to talk about amortization period. Once you get a mortgage, maximum, how many years maximum are you going to finish your mortgage? Yeah, so amortization period. This is the length of time you agree to pay off the mortgage, finish your mortgage. Maximum 25 years. 25 years. This is a long time. But remember, you can pay off faster. How can you do that? Remember, when the bank tells you how much to pay every month, you can pay extra money. If you are told pay 1,000, if you can pay more, we have seen you can add up to maximum 20% of the value of your house per year. By doing that, you are going to reduce the 25 years, maybe to 15 years, or maybe to 17 years. And remember, by doing this, you save a lot of money on interest. Yes, you are saving a lot of money on interest. Remember that one. So you can see here, the shorter the period, the higher the mortgage payment. The shorter the period, 15 years, the higher the mortgage payment. You pay more. Remember, you pay more, okay? You pay more. Now, you can talk to a specialist. I told you, banks, you can get a mortgage from the bank or from the credit unions, okay? Now, the mortgage, once again, I told you, you pay towards the principal and interest. And when you want to buy a house, you must have cash money on your saving account. This money is called down payment. Down payment. Minimum 5% of the value of your house. 5%. You must have cash money on your saving account. Okay? Now, within amortization period, there are what we call term. So a term, this is the length of the current mortgage agreement. when you go to the bank or credit union, you take a term, most common, 5 years. Most common, 5 years. But remember, you can take a term from 6 months to 10 years. Yeah. So the shorter the term, when you take a term short, maybe 1 year, the lower the interest rate. The shorter the term, the lower the interest rate. Interest rate will go down because the term is very short. But normally, usually, banks and credit union, usually they say 5 years. They need money. But you are free to choose 6 months, 1 year, 2 years. And remember, the shorter the term, the lower the interest rate. Now, what about the term? What do you do in a term? Suppose, let me say, suppose you take a term of 5 years. So within 5 years, you negotiate the interest rate. Interest rate. There are 2 kinds of interest rate. Fixed interest rate, fixed, and variable interest rate. Fixed and variable interest rate. If you choose fixed interest rate within 5 years, term of 5 years, it means you are going to pay the same amount. If, for example, it is 5%, so you will pay 5%, 5%, 5% up to 5 years. Now, what do you do after 5 years? At the end of your term, you go back to the bank or credit union, you negotiate again. They will send you a letter. You negotiate again. If you want again, you can take fixed or you can change variable. It depends on you. Variable interest rate. It means interest can go up. Interest can go up, or interest can go down, 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 down. So you choose depending on you. Before choosing either fixed or variable, can you do a little bit of research? Ask a specialist. Is the interest rate going up? Will it go up in the next years or will it go down? Then make a good choice, a good decision. Ask a specialist. Also, there is open and closed mortgage. What is the difference? You choose one, open or closed mortgage. If your mortgage is closed, it means bank says, I told you, they are going to tell you how much to pay every month. But I told you, you have a window, you can pay more, you can pay extra, up to 20% per year. So this is a closed mortgage. Closed mortgage. But if your mortgage is open, and maybe you sell your property back home, or you play lottery, you win 100,000. You bring all this money, you pay your mortgage. No penalty. Your mortgage is open. No penalty. But if you have closed mortgage and you win a lottery, you want to pay, they say, no. Your mortgage is closed. If you pay, they charge you. They give you a penalty. So which one do you like? Closed or open? And think about it. How do you think? Between closed and open. Open, you can even finish tomorrow to pay off if you get money. If you pay off tomorrow, what about the banks and credit union? They lose interest. They don't like that. So how do you think about the interest rate? Interest rate. Do they have the same interest rate or different interest rate? Of course, in open mortgage, interest rate is a little bit higher than closed mortgage. So when you buy a house, I'm going to talk about the mortgage default insurance. Mortgage default insurance. This insurance, let me explain it. For example, if you buy a house, 2023, a house of 200,000, as an example, you pay the mortgage. Then maybe after 5 years, something happens and you cannot pay your mortgage. Anything can happen and you cannot pay your mortgage. Banks and credit union will come to you. What happened? Oh, can you pay your mortgage? What is the problem? 1 month, 2 months. Oh, then if they see you cannot pay your mortgage, what will happen? They will take your house. Collateral, remember. What are they going to do with the house? They are going to sell your house. They are going to sell your house. It's even no longer your house. Yeah? Now, suppose you stopped paying the mortgage when the balance was maybe 120,000. You stopped there. You could not pay the mortgage. And banks or credit union, they need 120,000. Then you cannot pay the mortgage. They take the house. They sell the house. Suppose that time, anything can happen. And they sell the house 100,000 only. And they need 120,000. They sell the house 100,000. They need 20,000 more. Who will pay 20,000? Who will pay 20,000? The mortgage default insurance provider, they will pay 20,000. But why do they pay 20,000? Do you think they are not normal? They are very smart. Very smart. Now they said, mortgage default insurance provider, they said, you people, if your down payment is less than 20%, you must pay an insurance. You must pay insurance. And that insurance is only one time at the beginning. Finish one time. So if you give down payment 20% or more, you don't pay this insurance. You don't pay it. This is the only way you can avoid to pay the mortgage default insurance. But if your down payment, I repeat, if your down payment is less than 20%, you must pay the mortgage default insurance. And as I said, it is only one time. If you don't have money for this insurance, no problem. No problem. They will add to your mortgage. Think about it. If you don't have money for this insurance, no problem. They say, Azarias, no problem. We will add to your mortgage. But remember, when they add to your mortgage, what will happen to your interest? It will go up. So think about it. Yeah? So there are mortgage default insurance providers. In Canada, there are 3 mortgage default insurance providers. There are 3. There is Canada Mortgage and Housing Corporation Insurance. Canada Mortgage and Housing Corporation Insurance. CMHC Insurance. You will hear CMHC Insurance. There is also Genworth and Canada Guarantee. So in Canada, there are only those 3 mortgage default insurance providers. So if you go to your financial institution, either the bank or credit union, ask them. Ask your financial institution, which provider works with it? Is it CMHC? Is it Genworth? Is it Canada Guarantee? And ask them what makes it different from the others. If it is CMHC, what makes it different from Genworth or from Canada Guarantee? Ask them questions. They have to tell you. I'm going to show you how to calculate the mortgage default insurance. I'm going to use CMHC as an example. Others, they calculate it similar. Yeah, similar. I will show you. Look at this one now. CMHC insurance. Look at the bottom here. You see here 95 and 90. To make 100, you add 5%. And here you add 10%. Let me take an example. You want to buy a house of 200,000. You want to buy a house of 200,000. And let me take an example. You see here 5%. 5% of 200,000 is 10,000. 10,000. Look, and your down payment, 10,000 is non-traditional down payment. What does it mean, non-traditional? It means it's a gift. Maybe you want to buy a house and you don't have a down payment. You go to your mom or your dad or your friend, So you want to buy a house, I need 10,000. Your friend or your mom gives you 10,000 gift. So your down payment will be called non-traditional down payment. And the CMHC insurance, you are going to pay 4.5% of the total loan. The total loan. So you are given principal, you are given a mortgage of 200,000. You pay 5%, 10,000. You pay 10,000. So the total loan will be 200 minus 10, 190. So the CMHC insurance will be 4.5 divided by 100 times 190,000. But if you work, look here, 95%. To make 100, you add 5. If you work and save money, 5% to make 100. 5% of 200,000. You want to buy a house of, I said, we take example of 200,000, just as an example. Now, 5% of 200,000, 10,000. So your CMHC insurance will be equal to 4%. 4 divided by 100 times 190,000. But if your down payment is, you see here, 90, to make 100, you add 10. If your down payment is 10%, 10% of 200,000 is 20,000. 20,000. They give you 200,000. You pay them 20,000. The total loan will be 180. So the CMHC insurance will be 3.1% or 3.1 divided by 100 times 180. If your down payment is 15%, see here 85, to make 100, 15% of 200, 30,000. So your CMHC insurance will be 2.8 divided by 100 times 170,000. So this is how they calculate the mortgage default insurance. And this is an example of Canada Mortgage and Housing Corporation Insurance. Yeah. So this is the end of part 1. We are going to see part 2. Part 2. Yeah. And we are going to see part 2. Okay. Yeah. So we are going to continue with our home purchasing workshop, part 2. So now we are going to see an example of a couple. They want to buy a house. They want to buy a house. Okay? They want to buy a house. Now, they want to buy a house. Okay? They want to buy a house. Look now, it's coming, it's coming. Yeah, just be patient. The second part is coming. Okay, the second home purchasing, part 2. Okay. Home purchasing, part 2. Yes, one moment. One moment, one moment. So we are at part 2. We are going to see part 2. One moment, hello, can you hear me? Hello? Romulo, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Mr. Cody.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. I'm saying we are going to part 2.
Where's the part 2?
Okay. It is coming.
Hurry up.
Relax, Romulo.
Okay, Ryan, can I stop sharing and you will come back?
Yeah, sure. Okay.
Come back, please.
Okay.
Okay. So share the screen. One moment. Okay, and you will come back.
We have to leave?
Yeah, leave and come back.
Okay. We have to leave now.
Okay.